Superman is one of the most well-known superheroes. He is known for being inspirational and hopeful. But does this approach actually prevent and stop crime? When it comes to fighting crime, there are four goals to punishment: retribution, incapacitation, preventing recurrence or rehabilitation, and deterrence. Retribution is the idea that criminals deserve to be punished as a consequence of their actions. They violated the law, therefore they deserve a punishment. Incapacitation entails preventing future crimes by physically restraining or removing the offender from society. In rehabilitation, the goal is to reform the offender and reintegrate them back into society as a law-abiding citizen. Lastly, deterrence means preventing future crimes by discouraging violating the law. Oftentimes, they use deterrence to stop the broader public from committing crimes by showcasing the consequences of breaking the law. Superman doesn't just use one of these techniques. He uses a combination of incapacitation, rehabilitation, and even a little bit of deterrence. In regards to incapacitation, Superman's stories sometimes use the Phantom Zone. Of course, how the Phantom Zone is depicted depends on the writer, but in general, it seems like a terrifying place. A timeless dimension of near nothingness and where escape or release is almost impossible? It's a place of living nightmares. Superman seems to only use it as a last resort. For example, when capturing Doomsday. He's too strong to be kept anywhere else, so the scary Phantom Zone has to do. Luckily, Superman believes there's always another way, and that's when rehabilitation comes in. Superman gives second chances and tries to reason with villains. Even when his arch-nemesis, Lex Luthor, was captured, Clark still went to see him so Lex would be able to tell his side of the story. Lastly, there is deterrence. Batman isn't afraid to hang someone over a building so they would talk, but that's not how Superman handles these things. He does deter criminals through his reputation. A strong man with all of these superpowers? That's scary enough, but imagine getting beat up by that? No thank you. In general, Superman acts more like a moral guide rather than a punisher. He definitely stops threats through incapacitation, but his deeper goal is to rehabilitate those who have made the wrong choice and to deter others by leading as an example. Superman's way of fighting crime has proven successful, and the perfect example of this is Bizarro. Bizarro is a flawed Superman clone who causes chaos. Superman believes he isn't evil, just misunderstood. So instead of fighting him, Superman tries to guide and protect him. He even gave Bizarro a home on Bizarro World so he can live in peace. Eventually, Bizarro ended up being a member of the superhero team Red Hood and the Outlaws. Another great example is Livewire in Superman the Animated Series. Leslie was struck by lightning, which channeled through Superman's body. This gave her electrical powers and she became a villain. Despite her hostility towards the Man of Steel, Superman continues to show her compassion and saves her life multiple times. He even tries to get her the help she needs. It seems like Superman got through to her since she became more of an anti-hero. Rehabilitation is a good thing. It has good effects. It promotes long-term behavioral change since it tries to address the root causes of criminal behavior. Research also shows that rehabilitation reduces recidivism rates, meaning that people who commit a crime and get rehabilitation, such as therapy, are less likely to commit another similar crime. Not only does it reduce recidivism, but someone who went through rehabilitation can be a positive contribution to society because of the emphasis on social reintegration. In general, rehabilitation can lead to prevention. There are three ways of preventing crime, namely primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Primary prevention consists of measures aimed at the entire population. Oftentimes, this focuses on awareness, changing environments, or improving opportunities so people don't become criminals. Secondary prevention consists of measures aimed at risk groups, so people who are more likely to commit crimes. tertiary prevention is aimed at offenders and victims. For example, bringing awareness to the victim of a break-in and how to prevent it in the future, but also preventing offenders of recidivism. As a crime fighter who tends to prefer rehabilitation, Superman obviously uses a lot of tertiary prevention. He stops crimes, apprehends the criminals, and either lets the police handle them or sends the cosmic level threats to the Phantom Zone. Although, Superman also tends to use primary prevention. As Superman, he inspires. He is the symbol of hope, justice, and a better tomorrow. A lovely example is from the comic Superman Peace on Earth. In this comic, Superman talks about how his father said there would need to be a special individual with no personal agenda to show others what the world has to offer. Someone who puts his own needs aside for the greater good. Superman says he doesn't think he is that special individual, but he tries. He says that his powers aren't just a gift for him, but for anyone who needs them. He continues by saying it's not his place to dictate policy for humankind, but maybe the sight of him fighting hunger on a global scale would inspire others to take action in their own way. In addition, he also does this as Clark Kent. Clark is a journalist for the Daily Planet. As a journalist, he exposes corrupt politicians and corporate CEOs. He writes investigative pieces that reveal misconduct, cover-ups, and violations of the law. As a journalist, he holds people accountable and he helps to change systems before they create more harm. Clark also creates a public pressure for change by writing about poverty, immigration, and bad working conditions. He highlights the struggles of marginalized communities and he calls out systems that trap people in cycles of crime. Even the Superman motto of truth, justice, and a better tomorrow is applicable to Clark Kent. He doesn't publish lies, he investigates and listens to most sides of stories in order to be able to publish the truth. He refuses to be bought off or be silenced even when facing danger. And last but not least, he acts as a role model for responsible media. He may be the Man of Steel, but as Clark, sometimes the pen is mightier than the sword. I also believe Superman's way of preventing and fighting crime works because of the types of villains he has. A lot of his enemies or the people he fights are either extraterrestrial or people with superpowers. They are outsiders, which oftentimes is accompanied by feeling like an outsider. Imagine getting superpowers and feeling all of these negative emotions. Being scared or simply being put behind bars isn't going to fix any of it. Compassion, however, comes a long way. A prison isn't equipped to humanely care for people who go through this change and these feelings of not belonging, depression, and/or anxiety. Instead, it systematically punishes such individuals. Effective mental health treatment focuses on empowerment, but prisons strip people of their humanity, autonomy, and agency. A beautiful example of Superman going out of his way to help rehabilitate someone is in Superman the Animated Series episode Where There's Smoke. In this episode, Superman fights the metahuman Volcana. After realizing she has been abused and exploited by the government, he helps her escape the government agents and tries to get her the necessary help and safety. Now, Superman's arch-nemesis Lex Luthor is neither extraterrestrial nor does he have superpowers. But the same can still be said about him. Lex is jealous of Superman and sees him as a threat to humanity. Lex believes humans should reach for the stars. The sky is the limit. He is a genius and wants to explore all his options. But that's really hard to accomplish when Superman can just bring those stars closer. It may feel like Superman diminishes the accomplishments of mankind and specifically Lex Luthor. It's hard to celebrate your advancements when a godlike being exists on your Earth. He also believes Superman holds people back. People look to Superman for help when people should look to themselves and their peers. And, in Lex's mind, to him of course. In All-Star Superman, Lex is sentenced with the death penalty. To evade his punishment, he mixes a drink that would give him superpowers for a day. During that day, he continues his plans to eliminate Superman. This dying Superman doesn't search for vengeance or revenge, but instead he finds a way to show Lex the world through his eyes, and finally he understands what Superman was fighting for. Superman sought rehabilitation through empathy, not punishment. The way Superman handles criminals is also shown in how crime and justice is portrayed in the Superman comics. A 2010 study by Rains and Henson found that out of 49 Superman comics, 10 comics had a clear theme regarding crime and justice. All 10 of these comics portray justice as the due process model rather than the crime control model. Basically, the crime control model focuses on protecting society by regulating criminal conduct and justice. The punishments are given quickly and swiftly, striking fear in criminals because they know they will be punished harshly. This model supports greater powers for prosecutors and the courts that handle the cases. In contrast, the due process model favors defendants' rights, which includes the right to a fair trial. The accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and this model minimizes state power by placing limitations on the police to prevent potential abuse. Batman comics tend to favor the crime control model. If you're interested in how Batman stops crime and if it actually works, I suggest you watch this video next. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!